Thank you for tuning into another episode of the Breaking the Silence with Arthur Nikki Nicole, where you can unleash your inner voice. Today's guest is Kareem Stevens, better known as Stranga The Great. He is a hip hop entrepreneur, photographer, underground hip hop artist, producer, and media specialist. He is the brand associate and staff writer for Hip Hop Vibe, Promo Palace LLC, Promo Palace Blog, and IndieCastle.net. He has also worked with artists such as Fredro from Onyx and Keith Murray. He has a production placements on MTV's Pimp My Ride. He also works with urban models and video vixens with his brand team Greatness Productions, where he promotes urban models online, schedules, and assists with interviews, publicity, and booking. He has also been featured on MTV as well. So everyone, please welcome Mr. Kareem Stevens to the stage.
Thank you for
Hello.
having me. How you doing?
I'm doing well, doing well. So tell me, how long have you been in the music industry?
Um, ooh, I don't like the term music industry really. But I would say that I've been a hip hop musician for um maybe 22, 23 years. Well, no, you know what? Around 30. Yeah, 31 years, something like that. Cause I've recorded my first song in 95, I think. So whatever that is, I think that's like 29 years or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause when I went to look for your music, I was like, oh, he has several albums out. He's been doing this for a while. Wow. I was
Yeah.
listening to your latest album today, trying to get a feel for your music. I like it.
Oh,
I
okay.
gotta
Yeah, yeah. Real boom bap hip hop style.
okay, okay.
Mhm.
So how did you get the name Stranger the Great?
The name, the term stranger is something that I adopted in like eighth grade. I was a little different than my peers. So it's stranger as in stranger than everybody else. And it just, took on, 'cause at the time it was red eyed strange. It was like I was heavily infatuated and influenced by Wu-Tang. So like, my name and the things I was into was really dark or whatever. So red eye stranger was the name. And the red eye part was, my eyes used to be red all the time from like allergies and stuff like that. So it was just red eye stranger. And later on, a friend of mine, after witnessing me do a bunch of freestyle battles and things like that, and one of my friends had called me Stranger the Great, and you know it was the Great. Most people started calling me the Great when I came around or stuff like that. So Stranger the Great just stuck, and I stuck with that. So it was Stranger. It was just Stranger for years, and then it became Stranger the Great. So when every like when the internet once I got on the internet, it was mainly Stranger the Great people knew about. Anything previous before that was like, local in my hometown in a couple of counties. It was just Stranger, or if they went to high school with me or middle school, it was Red Eye Stranger.
Wow, wow. So I see you're into other things besides an artist as well. You're producing, you're a photographer. So how do you balance everything with having to be a staff writer and everything? How do you balance life?
Well, okay, so all of that stuff was not really going on simultaneously. Like I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine earlier, is being what they consider a multi-talented person with a bunch of different gifts. It's hard to nurture just one. So when I get bored with one thing, it's like I pick up something else, or I delve into other different things. So the photography thing came as an accident, actually. I was helping manage a hip hop label in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and the guy that I was helping him with, he had a couple of artists that he had, and we would go do events and things like that, and he had a camera. So I was like the vice president of his situation. So we would take turns using the camera, and I just you know fell in love with using the camera, and they went from filming the rappers performing to uh at the time I was looking for interviews and like media outlets, and I connected with a guy named Tevin Savage from hiphopvibe.com, and he interviewed me. And then I had, sent a few other artists his way to do features. And after a while, he was like, "Man, you keep sending artists over to me. How would you feel about, working with me and on some things?" And I was like, "Well, how would I fit?" He was like, "Well, I don't have anybody to interview the models on the hottie at the time. It was hottie of the week." He said, would you feel comfortable, reaching out and getting models and things like that?" I said, I don't think I would have a problem being able to do it. So I was able to connect with models and their managers and stuff like that. And every week I had to feature a model, a published model and things. So I started doing interviews with that. So after time went by, um, I had bought my own camera, and I just decided to bridge the gap. Like, what would happen if I started to actually try to do some photo shoots with these models that I'm interviewing? And it went from there, and also like some of the big music festivals and things like that, I was already going out there. So I was using my media credentials to do all the big music festivals like South by Southwest and A3C, things like that. Any CIAA, all those things, big events. I would go out there with my press passes and do interviews. And so that actually, I did more on that avenue I probably did as a musician. And it's kind of weird, something that I accidentally stumbled upon. I actually did more doing that. So that's how I learned how to do photography. And then years later, I started doing boudoir photography and other different forms of photography. So, but I've been I would consider myself a photographer. I've been doing that for around maybe 12 years, I think.
Mm. Wow, wow. So, as a child, did you dream of being in the music industry? Did you like, freestyle when you were young and just say, one day I'm gonna be great in the music industry. I'm gonna be a rapper.
I don't I didn't start thinking that way until maybe high school. But to be fair, um I grew up around hip hop, the early part of hip hop, not to go too deep into the story, but a few of the hip hop pioneers are connected to me through my dad. So my father, I'm originally from New York, and my father is a well-known figure in Harlem in the 70s and 80s, and he had a club that a few pioneers got there start in my dad's club. And I could name three: Curtis Blow, Love Bug Starsky, and DJ Hollywood. They all were, my dad took a liking to them as youth. And two of them, well, Starsky, my dad raised him. He raised him as one of his sons. So, we consider Starsky one of our brothers. And rest in peace to Starsky. We consider him one of our brothers. So when I was a kid, the time that I was in New York, I was around those guys. So like I was like 5 and 6 years old around Curtis Blow. You know what I mean? So when I moved to North Carolina, my mother moved back to her hometown. Once that happened, those memories never went anywhere. So before I understood or learned that I could rap, the first thing that me and my brother that's closer to my age on my dad's side, the first thing we was doing was breakdancing. So we was the little boys that was spinning on our backs and trying to spin on our heads and stuff like that. We were able to do that, and I started beatboxing around maybe second grade. I could out beatbox all the other kids. So me, I guess me being in the clubs, like in the nightclubs, I was the kid that was in the nightclub with all the adults behind the bar with my mom. My mom used to bartend the spot or whatever. So and then DJ Hollywood, and Hollywood is almost credited for being actually being the first hip hop DJ to rap over a microphone. Like, he says he didn't invent rhyming, but he was the first DJ to actually rap over the beat and like throw your hands in the air and wave it around like you just don't care. All that came from Love Bug, Starsky, and DJ Hollywood. They were the first ones to do that. So I was with those guys at 5 and 6 years old, and those memories never went anywhere. And also on my dad's side, my dad's first cousin is Jam Master Jay's mom. So, knowing the history of hip hop, those things never went anywhere. Even though I did move to North Carolina in a small town, it probably was destined for me to do something in hip hop.
Exactly. It looks like you grew around a lot of legends. Curtis Blow was the man. I still
Yeah,
listen
yeah,
to
yeah.
those music.
Yeah, and I could still reach out to him. That's one thing I'll say. Like I was a very little boy at the time when I was around him. But if I call him right now, he'll answer the phone. He'll talk to me. I talked to Hollywood for about 2 hours not too long ago. So yeah, I mean, it's something that I can say that I experienced. But the earliest form of hip hop, really, I wasn't old enough to understand it, but I do remember seeing certain things.
Right, and you're telling your age when you say you were bebopping and doing break dancing. That was the good years though. Honestly, music
Yeah,
is nothing like it was back in the day. Now,
no, not at all,
whole different ball game. So I
not
agree
at
with
all.
that. So tell me about your latest album. I see that you didn't release one since what, 2021?
2020, yeah. So those last two projects, those projects came after a hiatus. I had went through a divorce, and I sacrificed a lot during that time frame, and I kind of like music wasn't. I just didn't have it. I didn't have the same lust for music anymore, so I kind of like just put a break on everything, and it took about 5 years for me to do something again, almost 5 years, and the first project that I put out after the hiatus was over was called Epiphany, and I wanted to do a project that was different than all the other projects I had did before, and it was more geared towards like my personal feelings in my life. Like I got a like that the last song on that project Epiphany is a song. Was it the last? No, not the last song. It's like one of the later songs on there. It's like a song to my kids. It's like a open less like a letter song where I'm talking to them and telling them about me, who I am as a father, and how much I care about them, and giving them life lessons and stuff like that. That's the type of thing I didn't never did before, because um my hip hop style is more like backpack or boom bap, real lyrical. So, I'm always rapping about how I'm better than the other MC, that type of thing. But I wanted to give something personal with my return back. I wanted it to be more personal. I even have a song on there where I'm singing, and that's something that I've never done. Like I had song singing on there. I had another song that was like a reggae dance hall type song called Blowtorch. So I was just showing my versatility, and I had two songs on there was like real spiritual songs, because the start of my life, I started out Muslim, and then once my mother left and I ended up in North Carolina, they introduced me to Christianity. So I grew up as a kid. I grew up a little confused because I didn't, I had two different things. I
Mhm.
was exposed to two different things. So I basically came into my youth and my adulthood thinking for myself and finding my own exploration and things like that. So yeah, that album was real personal. And then the next one, the last one that was released, Strange Tronica, is more of what people know me for. It's just me just going all out on the mic, just saying, outrageous things and punchlines and metaphors. And yeah, I think the climate of hip hop from what I was used to had really changed when I put those two projects out. The first one was right before the pandemic, and the second one was released during the pandemic. So it was like no, I had never returned. Like since I stopped, I never returned to the stage. I haven't performed in oh man, almost 10 years. I don't think. Yeah, it's been about like 10 years. I don't think I perform. I don't know if I missed the performance, but that's something that that I used to do on a regular. Touring and doing little small indie circuits and stuff. But everything is different. The way you promote music is different. Like right now, if you don't beat the algorithm, your music is not going to be heard like that. Once you start promoting, you can't stop because the algorithm will push you to the bottom. Like you got to constantly remind your followers. You don't even have. They may not even have fans. You have followers. Your followers have to be reminded that you have the music, because they're not going to think to listen to your music every day. Like a
Exactly.
person that's on the radio, they're getting reminded every day, okay, such and such has new music. I heard his song on the radio today. But with us, it's completely different. You got to be in their face constantly for them to play you 50 times a year. And that's a small number if you think about what I'm saying. Like your
Mhm.
average fan may not even listen to you 10 times a year.
Right, right. And
So
it's
yeah,
that's
everything's
crazy.
different. It
It is,
is,
it is. I agree because that's like that with everything all the way around. That's just like with my podcast. I have to constantly post things, or it's not gonna reach the people I need to reach it. Like you said, I'm gonna be put back on the back burner. So it's hard. It's really hard out there now. Back
Yeah.
in the day, it was easier.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you think is your biggest challenge where you're not an artist anymore? So you're a multi-talented person. So what is your biggest challenge right now with trying to be in your roles now?
I just talked to a friend of mine who he's a pretty successful business. I want to give him a shout out because I went to see him just for some inspiration before this this interview. But shout out to Eric Washington in Washington's Menswear. Me and him talk. He's in a different part of life than I am, but he never looks down on me or nothing like that. We have conversation, intelligent conversations as two black men that's entrepreneurs and different things we're trying to do. But my biggest thing is being able to put all my efforts into one thing and seeing it grow to where it's supposed to go. Because I get bored. I get bored easily. I'll do something and not necessarily give up on it because it's not working. It's because as a artist type, art is what I love doing. So that's why I do music. Photography falls into the arts. Those things don't feel like working to me. It's just something I can do, and I love doing it. So outside of those things, doing anything else, I'll get bored doing it. So I have to find something that's profitable that I enjoy doing, and I can turn it into something that I love as well as I loved doing music. It was a time frame when I wrote lyrics every single day. It wasn't a day that I didn't write 2 or 3 rhymes every single day. Once that started changing, when I stopped writing them, I understood why I wasn't writing rhymes every day. It's because I had to go to work. I had a job, or I was a dad. I was a husband. It was different things that took up my time. Now I'm not a teenager no more, so all those things, eventually the things that you love will kind of be on the back burner. Some, you do them when you can. So like the business ventures that I try to do, like you say, you put on the thing I saw, you put serial bag chaser. In a way, yeah, I try to do anything. If it makes sense, I'll try it. But the thing is, I never see anything all the way through. It's like I may have side hustles. Like I just did my taxes, and I had six streams of income last year. And
Mm.
not saying that I made a ton of money, but I had 6 streams of income. It's like I had to do a lot. I do a lot just to try to stay where I'm at or try to get to my next level. So I got to find one of them and it catches on and I become extremely good at it because I learn how to do things fast, but they don't keep my attention long.
Wow, but that's a good thing that you're multi-talented. You'll never be broke
Yeah,
because
that's a fact.
you
That's a
you have so
fact.
many talents. So
And I'm
that's a
and I'm
good thing.
humble. Yeah, I'm humble. I don't feel like anything is beneath me. Like the things that I'll do, I'll do things that other people are like, nah, man, I'm at a level. Nah, I never go back and do that, bro. Whatever helps me sustain myself, I'll go do it. I'm not too humble. I don't turn down certain opportunities.
I believe that too. I believe that wholeheartedly. So what advice would you give to someone that's trying to be in your shoes, trying to wear your shoes? What advice would you give them?
Well, if you try to wear my shoes, make sure you lace the strings the correct way. Don't be walking down the street with the strings hanging out. But trying to do what I do, I wouldn't recommend anybody living their life this way because it's a lot of uncertainties. You know what I'm saying? Uncertainties. Like you never like as an entrepreneur who doesn't have a full income, like you never know where the money's coming from. So that means that if you do get up, because I'll be way up, then you might have a couple of months where you're not making much. So you got to be able to budget yourself and keep several streams of income coming in. Like, in the last year, the main source of income that I had was also my main liability because I have a pharmacy contract where I deliver pharmaceuticals. What that means my vehicle can't break down.
Right.
And for whatever reason, last year was like the season for vehicle breakdowns and repairs and repair shops, just staying in and out the repair shops and things like that, having business expenses, doing your annual report. That ain't nothing free. You got to pay for that. You got to pay for your annual report, you know what I'm saying, to keep your LLC going. All that stuff has expenses. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, I would say that choose something that doesn't have overhead starting out. Something that you can do where you don't have overhead. If you do have overhead, it shouldn't be monthly overhead. Keep your
Mm.
expenses low. That way, when you profit, you're not eating into your profit by having to put that money back into things that's going to happen that's routinely. Like You know, like for instance, if you're in the transportation industry, you're gonna keep buying tires. You know, you're gonna have to get oil changes way more frequent than the average person because you're using your vehicle every day, putting a certain amount of miles on it. You should be doing routine maintenance. Those things you should have the money up front to be able to take care of that stuff. So it's like a lot of different things that come into fact of being an entrepreneur. And luckily for me, I don't give up being a worker. So I'm an industrial contractor as well. That's something that I've done. This will be my 19th year, I believe. So I've been doing that. It allowed me to travel the country, and I think I was talking to my friend. I don't know what the number was, like 44 different states I've been to, traveling, doing music, and working as a industrial contractor. So, and I be on little short term contracts, 3-month contracts, 6-month, 9 months. It just depends. I was able to fund all my side businesses and side hustles and hobbies and all that stuff by being a worker for someone else. I was able to start my own company with money that I had saved up from working. And so if someone calls me with a contract, they need my particular skill set, they call me for it, I'm not going to turn them down, because I will turn it down if I got my own thing going. And last year was the first year that I actually put all my efforts into my own business. So I started my transport business in 2017, and 2023 was the first year that I put a full 12 months into trying to work that and not taking a break and doing other things. But so yeah, try to, all the business owners that I met, most of them, they say, don't quit your job, work your side hustle, and work a job too. And then don't quit your job until you know for a fact that you don't need that job no more. So that's
Right.
the advice I would give, and network super heavy, because there's people that you may meet that can help you get to the next level. They may know about funding for small businesses. They may know about grants. They might be able to connect you to a client that's gonna buy your product and spend a lot of money. They might get you a lifelong client. Don't be afraid to network.
Absolutely. I learned that too about the overhead expenses. When I first started being an author, I wrote my first book, I learned more and more. The less you have to put out, the more you can make.
That's right.
So I learned that about the podcast as well. Once you get your equipment where it needs to be, everything else is gonna, fall in place. But you do still have to have your things in place for your streaming. You do have to have month to month things for that, your website and things like that. But I mean, keep it at a minimum. But
Hmm.
you're not gonna make any money if you're constantly spending money.
Yeah,
So
it's tough, and you still have to
and
pay your regular bills. You got to live.
right, right. I agree. So as we wrap up our conversation today, I need for you to tell people how they can contact you and what services that you have so they can connect with you and bring you some
Yeah. Since there's so many of them, let's start here. If you're into boom bap hip hop or real lyrical engaged hip hop, you can find me as Stranger the Great, and it's not stranger, it's Stranger, Stranga. Stranger the Great, you know what I'm saying? On all social media platforms, you can find Stranger the Great on there. All the streaming networks, Stranger the Great has music on there. Google Stranger the Great. The pages don't pop up dramatically like they used to back in the day. It used to be like 30 pages deep. Not no more, but you can still find me on the streaming platforms. Stranger the Great, and photography is K Stevens Photography. I'm on a few different photography sites. I don't have a website for my photography, but I use a couple of different platforms. But K Stevens Photography, at least you can find me on Facebook with that, Instagram on that, and a few other things. And my website is strangerthegreat.net. So yeah, you can easily find me. I'm a accessible person on the internet.
So what are your as for far as photography, what are your prices?
It really depends. I would say that typically it start at 150 for the style that most people come to me for. Like the most of my clients come to me to get, it's like my version of what boudoir photography, but it's a little different. I put my own spin on it, real moody looking, like not a whole bunch of light, real minimal light, dark shadows and tones, and I like I like I like earth tones and things like that. I like soft tones, so I was able to tap into my feminine side, I guess, with my photography. And so yeah, my prices start at 150, but it could range. It just depends on how many images you want and what what all you want and whatever you need.
So do they have to come to you, or do you travel to do sessions?
I can do both. Like if you wanted the look that I had going on, it was a home studio situation, and I'm actually in between studios setting up one. I have a building situation that I got to put some love and care into and getting it up front or whatever. But yeah, I'm available to travel. I was actually supposed to do a photo shoot in Raleigh today after this interview later on, and I actually did one. I did a fetish. I did a fetish photo shoot last night actually at a hotel. It was like, well, more of a content creation than a photo shoot, but I'm flexible. It doesn't matter. Like
So
whatever you need, I got you.
so is there extra charge if you have to travel?
Yes, of course. Travel fee, it's like the going rate of whatever gas is. I don't try to beat nobody over the head though.
Awesome, awesome. Okay.
Reasonable.
Okay. Well, I would like to thank you so much for understanding, first and foremost, that I had to reschedule and
Uh,
still making it happen.
that ain't no
and
big
for
deal.
and for those of you that are out there listening, you nothing but the best and success on your journey. Thank
And
you
I
everyone for
appreciate it.
tuning.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Make sure you please like, share, and subscribe to the Breaking the Silence podcast YouTube channel for updates, new episodes, snippets, and more. Remember, it is never too late to be what you might have been. So tune in next time to break the silence together.